G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today of course we'll be going through my round 15 tips and predictions for the AFL and of course reviewing round 14. But before we do get into that, I'd just like to let you guys know I've got a Discord server that is currently as active as it's ever been. We chat AFL, we chat AFL tipping, we chat anything, and I'm quite active in it as well as of late. And if you're interested and want to be a part of the Discord server, I'll have the link in the description down below, and I wouldn't mind getting as many members as we possibly can. And also another thing, we hit 1,000 likes last week in the tipping video. Let's try and potentially even beat that. Let's go 1.2 thousand likes. Let's get to 1.2 thousand likes. I know we can get it done. It would be insane if we did get that done. But with all that and done with, let's quickly review round 14. And yeah, it wasn't the greatest round for myself. A few 50-50 games in this round, which didn't really help my cause. I tipped the Blues, got that one incorrect. Then I tipped the Saints, I got that one incorrect. Although this tip was one I was quite happy with. Port Adelaide beating the Swans. I was quite proud of that one actually. Then I tipped the Cats, which was a fairly safe tip. The Giants weren't able to get the job done against the Bulldogs, and then Gold Coast I tipped over the Crows, got the job done. So yeah, tough round for myself. Only the 3 out of 6. But luckily, for a lot of people, they're not really that big of a fan of the bye rounds. Luckily, there's no more bye rounds, and we're heading into round 15. We're set for arguably the best round of home and away footy we've seen in a very, very long time. I can't remember the last time where every single top 8 side plays each other in one round of the home and away season. It's just set up to be an absolute cracker of a round. And yeah, definitely the most important round of the season thus far. But obviously, before we do get into our tips, we'll go over the big calls. And I really don't have to say too much. It was just another disappointing round for the big calls. I cannot seem to get a big call correct over the bye weeks. Again, a fat donut, a fat zero, which means we've got to head back to the punishments to see what we do. And we'll go through the likes. So the one with the most likes was from Geordie again. It was again for Shannon to decide what I have for dinner for an entire week. Len's had the second most likes, but I elected not to go for that one because, let's be real, I was never going to do it anyway. So the second most likes that I had was from Xavier, which was to wear clown makeup to the next football game I go to. Maybe I'll wear a clown suit. I don't know how I'm going to get clown makeup put on me. And then the next bloody punishment with the third most likes is from Aussie Things, is that to tip the underdogs for every match until Wet Toast Penguins, aka West Coast, get a win, which essentially means I tip the underdogs for the rest of the season. Let's get right into it. The wheel, as usual, for like the third week in a row, I'm pretty sure. And oh no, it's gonna be Shannon back-to-back weeks. Shannon to decide what I have for dinner every day for a week. I'm not gonna do this next week because I'll be in Sydney, so we'll do the week after. But speaking of Shannon, this is the week where he joins me for the segment, so he's going to be doing his tips as well as his big calls for the huge round in round 15. He couldn't have picked a better round to be getting on the channel to do the tipping and the segments. What a huge round of footy we have set for us, and finally, we've got 9 games again rather than just the 6. The first game on the Thursday night, we've got Melbourne take on Brisbane at the MCG. This will be the first of the top 8 clashes in this one between first and second, and this is Brisbane's first game at the MCG since round 1 2020, which is crazy. I don't know why the Lions don't play more at the MCG. Melbourne as of late have had a month of hell, and it's going to be amplified with the Max Gawn injury. I think he'll be out for a month, which obviously doesn't help their cause. Stephen May, I'm pretty sure, will be back, so his inclusion should make them more defensively sound. Whilst the Brisbane Lions, well, they've got a full-strength side at the moment, and they look very solid after halftime against the Saints. They probably should have won that game by more, considering they had a heap of scoring shots. And the Lions, well, they almost look like the side to potentially overtake the D's on the ladder. I'm pretty sure they are at the moment. There's a chance that potentially that top spot might not be up for grabs for the remainder of the season. But yeah, I'm really unsure on the D's right now, whether or not they're going to improve again, whether it was a lapse or whether they are starting to slide significantly, considering that the first 10 rounds that they played, they've been playing average sides, and now they're up against the really good sides. So the D's are favourites here, but I'm going to go the Lions. I just have a little bit more faith right in the Lions, and I feel like they can get it done. So I'm going to go the Lions to win this one by 14. With my big score, the Lions reduce the D's to under 55 points.
So I'll go Melbourne to win, and I reckon they'll have 34 points.
34 points, and what's your big call?
Melbourne lead at every change of the game.
So the next game of the round, we've got the Western Bulldogs v Hawthorn, the first of the 2 Friday night matches. And again, why are there 2 Friday night matches? The AFL, we never asked for this, so stop having 2 games on a Friday night. It's obviously a huge game though in terms of shaping the top 8 for the Dogs after that great win against the Giants, because that top 8 spot is still definitely up for grabs after those 2 poor losses to the Swans and the Saints last week. Although the Hawks, I still can't take them lightly. Although they are sitting 14th on the ladder and look to be no threat for the finals, they took it up to the Dockers 2 weeks ago. They looked very competitive and they almost stole victory from them. Like, they were in that game for pretty much the entirety of the match. Obviously, the Dogs did have a great win in that shootout against the Giants, and they can thank Aaron Norton and Cody Waitman for combining 10 goals. Waitman really, really brave after dislocating his elbow, but then still coming back onto the ground to play a huge part in their win. I don't tip the Hawks often enough, and I just feel like I probably should. Like, this is a time where I just feel like the Hawks are going to get the job done here. I just feel like this is upset potential for the Hawks. I know I obviously want the Hawks to win for the Saints' sake, so I'm not doing it just out of spite. But regardless, I genuinely feel like the Hawks could upset here. They typically play alright against the Bulldogs. They beat them last year, so screw it. I'm going to go the Hawks in the first or probably second upset so far in the tips. I'm going to go Hawthorn to win this game by 9 points with my big call. The Hawks are up by 25 or more points at any stage of the game.
Bulldogs are going to win by, let's call it a 20-point victory, I reckon. Well, let's go. Dogs win by 30 or more points in the game.
Next game of the round, we've got the Eagles take on the Bombers at Optus Stadium. And after a season from hell, both clubs were really impressive on the weekend. The Eagles, they took it up to the Cats all game, really. They applied great pressure, and they were in fact in front at a stage in the third quarter, and it was definitely their best game they've played since the Pies win. Whilst the Bombers, well, they were even better than the Eagles. They absolutely destroyed the Lackless Saints, and they looked as good as their best. However, I'm unsure, though, if this is going to be a one-off for those two sides, or if this is going to be the new standard set for the two sides. Although, I still feel like it's going to be really tough to see the Eagles win another game this season, and if Essendon play anywhere close to how they played on Friday, it should be a fairly comfortable win for the Bombers here. I don't normally tip the Bombers, obviously, but I just feel like the Bombers should get it done against the Eagles. Every other team is able to get it done against the Eagles. So we'll go Essendon by 33 with my big call. Peter Wright and Jake Stringer combined for 7 or more goals.
I reckon the Bombers win by 40. And my big call is that Peter Wright kicks 3 or more goals.
Next game we have on the Saturday. This is the first of 3 Saturday clashes that are all top 8 clashes. And this is between 3rd and 5th, and it's practically a 50-50 match. We've got Carlton v Fremantle. The Blues were very disappointing early against the Tigers, leaking the first 6 goals of the game. However, to their credit, they gradually worked their way back into the contest, but it was ultimately not enough for the Blues. And unfortunately for them, the injury luck worsens with Sam Durden and now Jack Martin suffering injuries on Thursday night. Whereas Freo, they had the bye last week, but they just continue their great form after that win 2 weeks ago against the Hawks, and they honestly look set for a top 4 finish. It's only theirs to lose from this position. Although the key question is, can the Dockers break their marble hoodoo v the Blues? They just don't seem to play Marvel that well, and every time they play the Blues at Marvel, they seem to lose the game. But really, this one's literally a flip of the coin. It's a coin toss, and I'm going to literally do that right now. Tails is the Blues, and we've got heads. So, there you go. I'm going to tip the Freo Dockers in this one. Literally a 50-50 game. It's going to be a thriller, I reckon. The Dockers win the game by 3 points. A big call. 5 or more goals come from the Carlton midfielders. That's
I'm going to go to Dockers to win by 9 points in an absolute thriller. One of the best games of the round. My big call is that 5 to kick, 2 or more goals.
Second game on the Saturday, we have Geelong taking on Richmond at the MCG. The Cats, well, they looked quite shaky last week against the Eagles, although luckily for them, their class and experience got them just over the line, but it was very unconvincing. If they want to win this game against the Tigers, they need a lot more on their game if they, want to stand a chance, because the Tigers currently are one of the informed teams in the AFL, and they had another great win on the weekend against the Blues, and are honestly set for a top 8 finish, and if results go their way, top 4 is still potentially up for grabs. I feel like this is another one of these games that is probably going to be one of the games of the round. I honestly originally had the Cats lead into it. I just feel like the Cats are the more trustworthy of the two sides, but at the same time, I don't think I've backed in the Tigers enough or given them enough credit for their really good push in the last few weeks. So, after initially going the Cats, I'm going to go the Tigers here. I think they can do enough, and I think I'll back them in to continue their really good form. I'm going to go the Tigers to win this game by 16 points. With my big call, the Tigers win after trailing at 3/4 time.
I'm going to go to Cats by 25. And my big call is that Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins combine 5 or more goals.
Yep.
I reckon these two lads should have a ripper of a day out.
In the last game of the Saturday, we've got Sydney v St Kilda. I'll be going to this game, and it is one of the biggest games I reckon we've seen so far this round. It's the fourth top 8 clash this round, and it looms to be so much more important. There is so much more now at stake after last week's result. The Saints, they played their worst game of the year by far. I don't know, they just seemed like they were walking into this game expecting a win, but straight away from the first bounce, the Bombers were the better of the two sides, and they just walked over us. We just had way too many passengers. We applied zero pressure. But to be honest, the Swans, they didn't really play much better, and ultimately they lost the game from that really poor third quarter. I think they conceded 6 goals in that third quarter because they were in the game in the first half, and that was just a game that the Swans should have won, and they dropped because they had a lot at stake. Of course, both sides will be very hungry for a win, and the loser in this contest is in serious doubt of making finals. So yeah, the contest is obviously going to be real hot. I expect this game to be a real close one. Intensity will be up, the heat will be up. I hope the Saints played in this game, otherwise we're screwed. And with Jack Steele being back most likely as well, that'll give us a real boost in the midfield as well as in the leadership department. So I won't make the same mistake as I did a few weeks ago tipping the Lions over us. I think the Swans probably should win this, and they are the favourites for a reason. So I'll go Sydney to win this one by 5 in a thriller. My big call, Jack Steele, has 33 or more disposals and 8 or more tackles.
I'll go Sydney by 32 points. My big call, Buddy Lance Franklin to kick 3+ goals.
3+ goals.
And happily 2+ goals.
The next game of the round on the Sunday, we've got North Melbourne taking on Adelaide at Blundstone Arena. This is probably the most underwhelming fixture in this round. It honestly means nothing. This game means the least out of all games this season. But for North, it means quite a bit because I genuinely reckon this is the best opportunity all season for North to win here. Because the Crows, as of late, they're starting to drop their standings. Their effort isn't as high as it was to begin in the season. And it makes sense. They've got a lot of young players. But I feel like if North can come out to play in this game and they can, bring a huge response from that poor loss against the Giants, it could happen at Blundstone Arena. They play well at Blundstone. They play their best footy down in Tassie. But at the same time, as bad as the Crows have been over the last few weeks, I don't think the Crows are bad enough at the moment to lose to North. There are serious issues internally and externally at North Melbourne, and I don't know if the Crows are going to drop that game. So my tip will be the Crows to win it by 26 points. My big call will be North Melbourne lead the game at half-time.
I reckon the Crom will win by 34 points. And because that Taylor Walker will get 3+ goals.
The hugely important games keep on coming. This one being between Collingwood and GWS at the MCG. Of course, this is a huge game for the Pies. A top 8 spot is up for grabs if they win because, either the Swans or the Saints will be out of the 8 at the end of the round if the Pies can get this win. And I'd arguably say the Pies right now are the most informed team in the comp. They've got 4 wins on the trot and they're looking to make it 5. But on the other hand, the Giants are also looking to be on the improve. They had, I'd say, an honourable loss against the Dogs in a cracker of a game with Toby Green playing the best individual game you'll see all year. 7 goals, was just everywhere. He couldn't have done more to try and get the Giants a win on that occasion. Obviously, based on form, you're back in the Pies. You'd expect them to get it done, but I just have that weird feeling, and it's not because I really want the Pies to lose this game for the Saints' sake. I just have a feeling, though, that the Pies will get a bit complacent, exactly like the Swans. I mean, same situation. The Pies beat the Ds, they head into the bye. The Swans beat the Ds, head into the bye. Should have beat the Power, and they got complacent and lost. I feel like it could happen again with the Pies. I just have that weird feeling that the Pies potentially might crash and burn or something might happen to them. So it has real upset potential, particularly considering the Giants' recent form over the Pies. I think they haven't lost to the Pies since 2018, so they've had the wood over the Pies as of late, and I don't know, I'm going to go the upset again. I hope I'm right for more reasons than just one. The Giants win it by 15 points. Sorry, Pies fans. My big call, the Giants win the game with less scoring shots.
I reckon the Pies will win by 30, and my big call is that the Giants trail all game, but still lose.
And the last game of the round, it is another cracker. Port Adelaide taking on the Gold Coast Suns, and both sides are still in the hunt for the finals. They both had great wins on the weekend. Port, they probably played their best footy all year to put the Swans away, particularly in that third quarter, and keep their top 8 spot alive. Whereas the Suns, they just continue to impress with their third consecutive 7+ goal win, and that is now 5 wins of their last 6 for the Suns. So they've been just really, really impressive, and they're in probably the best position they have ever been to make an 8th spot. Port do have the home ground advantage in this one though, and they haven't lost to the Suns since 2011, which funny enough was actually Gold Coast's first win ever in their history. I definitely expect a cracker of a contest, and this is one of those games that the Suns weren't expected to win anyway, so it would do them the world of good if they, for whatever reason, were to find an upset win. I just feel like that home ground advantage just favours the Power a little bit too much, and I'll tip the Power to win it by 18 points. With my big call, the Gold Coast Suns record 15 or more behinds.
I'm going to go Port Adelaide to win. I reckon they'll win by 33 points. My big call is that Rosie and Dixon to combine 2+ goals and Carl Amon to 15 or more disposals.
So those were my round 15 AFL tips. It's arguably the toughest round to pick, so I've gone for a few upsets to see if I can potentially get a few tips that most people wouldn't get correct. I've gone the Lions, the Hawks, the Eagles, the Dockers, the Tigers, the Swans, the Crows, the Giants, and the Power. And of course, Shannon, he went for all upsets in his tips, so we'll see when I reflect for the round 16 tips to see who got more tips correct between me or Shannon, and to see who got more big calls correct between me and Shannon, although to be fair, Shannon's big calls weren't really big calls. So in the comments, let me know who will get more tips correct. Will it be Shannon, who went the safe route, or me, who went more of the upset route? So before we do wrap up the video, of course, we'll quickly go over the leaderboard for my tipping comp. And we had 3 people get a perfect 6 out of 6, which is super impressive, particularly considering that there were a few upsets in this round. We had Lauren is the GOAT. Well, you are the GOAT of tipping for round 14 with a correct score of 6. And a margin of just 2. That is absolutely outstanding. The Footy Frantic as well. And Cav 2006, well done to you guys for tipping a perfect score. Not many others could have said the same thing on the weekend. And of course, we'll go through the total score after round 14. It's now, well, I always say every week it's heating up, but this is huge. We have Dino Marino in the top spot with only 3 in round 14, but he still remains top spot. We had Nick Dacos official also on 109. Then Lucas Jetski is bobbed up with 107. Ash Bank, Cooper M, Docker Army, Lion Boldo, and Banger Harvey. He's dropped to 13th spot, but there is still just the 3 points separating 16th from 1st. So if you do want to join the tipping comp, again, it will be in the description, as well as my Discord server as I plugged earlier in the video. So go and hit the links for those 2 things if you haven't already. As last week, there'll be a lot of content coming up this week. I'll be heading to Sydney, so hopefully we see a Saints win, but after last week, I don't expect too much. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new. We want to get to 20k subs by sometime in July, and we'll see you very soon in my next video. Cheers.